You are listening to Proof of Love with Tatiana Moroz, Dr. Stephanie Murphy, and Lauren Kasovitz. This show may contain adult content, language, and humor and is intended for mature audiences. If that's not you, please stop listening. Nothing you hear on Proof of Love is intended as financial advice, legal advice, therapy, or really anything other than entertainment. Please take everything that you hear with a grain of salt. Oh, and if you're hearing us on an affiliate network, the ideas and views expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the network that you're listening on, or of any of the sponsors or affiliate products that you may hear about on the show. Now that that's squared away, let's start the show. Show me your heart. I know that it's beating. Tell me that you love me too. So I know your heart is true. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. This episode of Proof of Love is brought to you by Vaultoro. Vaultoro is a gold hedging solution for the crypto community. One of the challenges of investing in cryptocurrencies is dealing with volatility. Keeping a diversified portfolio is a key to healthy returns. I keep about 10% of my crypto assets in gold using Vaultoro. Vaultoro allows me to open a gold wallet in seconds where I can trade easily with cryptos in gold. What I like about using Vaultoro instead of Tether is that the gold in my Vaultoro wallet is insured, audited, vaulted in Switzerland, and unlike fiat money, gold has increased in value for the last 20 years. Visit Vaultoro.gold/Tatiana today and get zero trading fees for the first 3 months. That is vault, like a gold vault, and oro, which is Spanish for gold. Vaultoro, ole! Hello, everybody, and welcome to Proof of Love, the show where you get to hang out with us. Lucky you. This is Tatiana Moroz. I'm broadcasting to you from Los Angeles, and I'm joined today by my two beautiful best friends, Stephanie and Lauren. Hey, girls, how you doing?
Coming to you from New Hampshire, talking about relationships on the internet.
Coming to you from Orange County, talking to you about a lot of interesting things today that I'm really excited to discuss.
You know, girls, when we record early in the morning, we all sort of get this NPR sound to our voice. Do you notice that?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, it's very relaxing. And welcome to Proof of Love.
But then as we get more, as we get more excited, I think that the volume goes up. So by the end of the show, it's a little bit less sexy.
Yeah, we need to spice things up. Okay, so what do we have for our first question today? Am I reading the first question?
Yeah, go for it. I like when you read
cool.
questions.
All right. So, by the way, we're doing a Q&A show. And if you want to send us questions to the show, you can contact us through our website, which is proofoflovecast.com. We would love to hear from you.
Also, okay, so quick thing before we, and one more thing, I just wanted to make sure that we said thank you to our sponsors, Vaultoro and blocktap.io. So please make sure that you go to vaultoro.com, check out their website. And if you need some data, go to blocktap.io, data analysis. Great. All right, Steph, you can go.
Awesome. Okay, so our first question comes from a woman, and she says, how do you know if chicks are hitting on you? I feel like they do sometimes to me, but I can't tell.
Okay. I don't know. What do you guys think is the way? Because I've had experiences like that where I'm trying to figure out, is this person just being friendly, or are they trying to indicate that they want to, make out or something? What do you girls think about this? How can you tell?
Yeah, it's hard to tell, isn't it? Because women are kind of like culturally supposed to be really friendly, and sometimes it's hard to tell if they're flirting. They're not supposed to like flirt overtly, right? Because that would be unladylike, right? And we've all been socialized in these gender roles that tell us we're not supposed to be too aggressive, even if we like someone, but it's okay to like kind of touch girls and like hug them and compliment them a lot on their appearance. Oh my God, I love your shoes and your hair and that kind of thing. So yeah. How do you tell if it's friendly or not? And by the way, we should say, I guess I'm an out bisexual, so I have experience with this too. And most women actually are attracted to other women. It's like actually the majority. It's something around 60 to 80% of women have been attracted to other women at some point in their life. So this is totally normal. And it's actually the majority, even though bisexuals don't get a lot of play. And maybe, women who are attracted to other women don't necessarily identify as bisexual. They don't think of themselves that way. But I'm just saying this is a totally normal phenomenon. So it could be very possible that a girl is hitting on you. So how do you tell? Lauren, do you have any definitive tips about like okay, this is definitely not friendly. This is more than friendly?
I don't know. It's always been really confusing for me because historically I have been hit on by women and not realized it myself. And it's been other men telling me, like, that girl is hitting on you, which I think is really interesting. I don't know. I found in my personal experience, if I'm being hit on as a woman by another woman, they're usually a lot more aggressive. And I don't know if that's just because I'm a total dummy and they've already given all the subtle hints, but it's been a lot more overt. Like, hey, what's going on? Do you want to go to the movies this weekend? It's a lot more of a specific datey type situation. But again, I don't know. It could be that it's normal girl talk before to me because I'm a pretty touchy-feely, affectionate person. So I don't know. I could have put in this question myself because I can't give you a definitive answer. Steph, you
So,
would probably have way more experience just realizing and knowing.
so yeah, I have some thoughts, but I want to ask you about something you said earlier, which was that other men tell you this girl is hitting on you. Do you think
Yes.
that's for real, or do you think it's just because they wish that's the case? Like it's wishful
Great
thinking?
question. Totally.
Yeah, I think it depends the situation, but I think a lot of times it is for real. I mean, it's been, what's interesting? The guys that have noticed it, this is kind of taking a spin on it. The guys that have noticed it the most have been my gay male friends. And I
That's
don't know if
fascinating
that,
because they have no
yeah,
incentive to
no,
want it
no.
to be true.
Yeah, no, it's not like sexy or anything for them. They could care less. But it's almost kind of like, hey, dummy, like that girl is into you. And I'm like, no, she's not. She just, like you said before, complimented my shirt and my hair and my shoes and the sound of my voice. And
And my
And your
tits.
boobs.
I don't know. I guess it really kind of depends the type of person you are with women as well, because I am a very kind of like naturally touchy-feely, huggy type person. So I wouldn't generally catch those subtle signals. But then again, I wouldn't catch those subtle signals with men either. I'm kind of notoriously famous for having a guy have to like yell in my face, I like you. I'm like, oh, you do? Really? Oh, okay.
I feel pretty clueless about that stuff too. Like sometimes I'll have guys talking to me for a while and I'm just thinking to myself, why is this guy talking to me? It's so annoying. And then all of a sudden later on, I realize, oh, he was trying to hit on you, dummy. I can't
Right?
figure it out. But I think it's a lot harder with a woman. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of taboos there. I think that
They're
stuff,
all.
cool of the 60 to 80% of women being bisexual. Where did you get that from, Stephanie?
There was a study. I'm going to try to look it up and put so we can link to it in the show notes. But there have actually been several studies about this. And not that 80% of women would call themselves bisexual, but it's something around like 60% or around at least half of women have had some kind of experience where they kissed another woman or something like that. And something like 80% have admitted being attracted to another woman at some point in their life.
Interesting. That's really interesting. I think it also depends on the situation. I think it's similar to, a man hitting on a woman in a lot of ways. Like you could be working with somebody and they have a little crush on you and you wouldn't realize it. But then again, that same person could be at a club or a kind of pickup joint and would be hitting on you in a totally different way. So I mean, I've been to, I don't want to say the name, but I've been to a lesbian bar in Manhattan, and I've definitely had women look at me there like, oh, is she one of us? Is she just checking out the scene? What's the deal? And not do
Is she
anything.
one of us?
But am I a newbie? In a lot of communities, I think especially in New York, people know each other. Even though it's a big city, in that community, a lot of people know each other. And so it's kind of like, what is she here for? Is she testing out the waters? Is she here with a friend? But on the other hand, I specifically remember this girl hitting on me so aggressively the way a guy would. Like she made a joke. It was a funny joke about she was going to the bathroom and just walked past me. I don't know if she'd been checking me out for a bit, but she put her drink in front of me. I always remember this. And she said, hey, can you watch my drink? And I swear to God, she goes, I just want to make sure nobody roofies it. And I was like, yeah, of course. And she goes, unless you roofie it, and then winks
Ah! Oh my
and goes
God.
to the bathroom. So I think it really is. I don't think we can give those gender stereotypes. I think some women hit on women in a really overt way, and others are really subtle and gentle about it, at
I
least in
feel
my
like that's a
experience.
great pickup line, by the way.
It is,
I'm
right?
going to write it down.
It was memorable for sure.
It was. I don't know, Steph, what do you think?
Well, I think you're right, Lauren, about like it manifests in different ways, and that could depend on the woman's gender expression and or how she feels that day, or just kind of like I guess her internal state. And what I mean by that is that a lot of times, even though it's really common for women to be attracted to other women, there's this confusion that comes in. Is this okay? Am I doing something wrong? Because like we do get these messages, especially us who grew up in the 90s, that like we were growing up and it was like, don't ask, don't tell. If you're gay in the military, you could get kicked out, right? And gay marriage was definitely bad. And there were lots of stereotypes about gay people, and there was HIV AIDS. And so this was like a scary time to be gay, right? And so we absorbed those ideas from culture. And so did people younger than us, even if they kind of missed it a little bit. So, like, there's a lot of stuff that we all have. It's called internalized homophobia. We internalize the homophobia or the bias against gay people that's floating around in culture. And we start thinking, oh, I'm attracted to this other woman. Does that make me gay? And is that okay or is that bad? So there's like a lot of confusion about it sometimes. And then that confusion can manifest outwardly, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
for example, I had a woman once at a party like pull me outside and kiss me, and then like immediately after she was talking about guys and like having sex with guys, like
what?
just to prove that she's really not gay or something. And I was just like, okay. And then I had another woman once say, hey, do you want to come back to my tent and cuddle at a camping festival? And I said, okay, but no sex. And that went out the window. So, but then later she was like kind of confused, and she was also with another guy. So like, I think people get really confused, and then their inner confusion manifests on the outside. And so if you're getting mixed signals from someone, it's really easy to tell, because you're just going to end up just as confused as they are. So I would say, like, with me, it tends to happen where I'm out, right, as someone who is bisexual. So sometimes people think that means they can use me to kind of experiment or like figure out what they are, their sexuality. And if they feel
Oh, that's
attracted,
interesting. That's really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, and this happens with lesbian women too, or women who maybe have like an asymmetrical haircut or something. Like people will use you as the tester to see if they really like this whole lesbian thing, or if they could really get down with that, right? And that's kind of not fair, because one person is not the barometer of your sexuality. And I think everybody just needs to realize, like, even if you are attracted to someone of the same gender, or of if you're attracted to someone who you wouldn't normally consider yourself, it's part of your identity to be attracted to, that's okay. You don't have to embrace the identity just yet. You don't have to call yourself gay or queer or bisexual or anything. Just explore it with curiosity and open-mindedness and see where it goes. It doesn't have to mean anything about you, but if you like someone, why not tell them and be direct, right? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't think people be direct and tell them. I don't know what kind of person does that, though. I don't know. I don't.
I think it kind of also depends too, because Steph, I'm sure you've had different situations depending on where you are, right? If you're around people who know that you're openly out, there might be a different way that they're hitting on you, as opposed to you being in Whole Foods just shopping and a girl notices you.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the thing in public, I mean, there's such a thing, I think, as gaydar, and then some people kind of broadcast it somehow by just, I don't know, look at, like, something about their appearance gives off a vibe that says, yes, I am open to queerness, people who could be considered queer hitting on me or something like that. Some people don't really give off that vibe, and you see them in the grocery store and you're wondering, would they be open to this? And I think I'm one of those people. You can't necessarily tell by looking at me so well. And there have been times when I've been in the grocery store and I just saw a woman like pause her shopping cart and look me up and down from head head to toe, and then back up to head again. And then she kind of drops her eyes and looks away.
Oh my God,
And
she gave you elevator eyes.
yeah, that's kind of a dead ringer, right?
Yeah.
It's about reading situations, like this can be really hard, but I think the only way is to practice, right? And hey, if you're interested in the other person, test it out, go talk to them, right? I think the only way you can really develop a good sense for whether someone's interested in you is just to talk to a lot of people and get experience under your belt and figure it out, and also to know yourself better, right? Know what you would do if you were interested in someone, and then see if you can see mirroring of that in someone else.
I think that's great advice. I think there's so many interesting ways that we could veer off in this topic that we're probably not going to go into today. But I do also think it's interesting, kind of depending on not just location, bar versus supermarket versus library versus work, but I think it's also where you live. If you're in the city, if you're in the country, what country you're in. I think there's so many different factors. It seems
Yeah,
in a
that's
lot
a
of
great point, because what if
right,
you're in like Saudi Arabia or something? How do you flirt with,
right.
like where it's really illegal to be gay? What if you're in like it's definitely different context, but I just want to say something. Okay,
Yeah.
people, don't hit on someone in the grocery store, especially women. Like, I know it's hard to meet people sometimes, but usually when people are at the grocery store or at the gym or at the library, they're just there because they're doing their business. Like, they just want to get groceries.
Oh
They're
my
not
God,
looking
I
for a date.
disagree. No,
You
you're
disagree?
gonna
Oh, tell me
really
about
love.
that.
Okay, are you kidding me? What are we gonna do? Be stuck on Tinder forever? I would rather have somebody approach me in a store or somewhere normal than deal with internet dating. I think people are very afraid to date as it is. They're afraid to approach each other. So to limit where people can hit on each other, I mean, look, if somebody's got their headphones, they have got, sweatpants on and they look like crap, even if you think they look good, okay, that their body, clothing, everything says, get away from me. But I don't think that, I don't know. I mean, I think it's very hard to meet people outside of a bar or outside of online dating apps, but I don't think that either of those places are great places to meet somebody for like a real relationship. So I don't know. I think I give the A-OK for grocery stores.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so some people want to be hit on at the grocery store, or are open to it, at least if you do it in a classy way. Other people, not so much open to it. And again, like Tatiana said, it's about reading the body language and the situation. Like you said, if there's someone who has headphones on, that's a signal that they don't want to be talked to right then. So, that's or if they're looking down at their phone and they don't really seem to be making eye contact, that's another good signal that they are not really open to being approached. So, yeah, I guess just try to read someone and see if they're open to it, no matter what their gender. And hey, this was a great question.
Wait, but I'm not done with this question because I don't feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
I don't think that we actually have an answer. You know what I mean? Like, how can you tell that a person is actually trying to hit on you versus just being a friendly chick? Like, what is the defining line? And do you just say to them, hey, are you hitting on me? Ha 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 ha. Or what?
I think you could ask that question in a playful, flirtatious way, right? Like if she says, "Oh, I really like your hair," and then she touches your hand, say, "Thanks. Are you hitting on me? Do you like girls?" Or you could work it into the conversation. You could casually mention an ex-girlfriend. You could casually mention making out with a girl in the past. I don't know. This is something I would probably do. And then once they hear that, they'll say, "Oh, okay, there's a signal. She's open to it." And then maybe they'll escalate.
I think that that would probably be the most like useful advice, right? In
Yeah.
terms of like, feel it out. People don't know how to feel anything. But I think if you work it in that way, I think that would probably be the best way to signal one way or the other.
Yeah, I agree.
And then how do you tell her like, no thanks, lady? What if she misread you and she tries to go in for a makeout and you're like, oh.
I think women just don't do that, honestly. I think if you're not giving off a signal that you're also interested, they are just, the cultural conditioning is so strong for women not to be aggressive that they don't just attack you. You know what I mean? Like a guy might.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, that's true. They probably hit on you a little bit differently, except for Lauren's fake girlfriend with the review.
Yeah, I mean, that was memorable because it was really bold, right?
It
She was
was
saying,
really bold. It was almost bolder than any guy who's ever hit on me. I was like, and she said it with such like charm and a like wink and a smile, but it was funny. It was
she
fun.
pulled it off.
She
I feel like
totally
I could do that line really easily because I've
You
left
could.
my drink with people before and I've said, can you wash this and make sure nobody puts a roofie in it? So it's just like you add on a little, except for you, wink, wink. I mean, maybe you get a slight increased chance of a psychopath, but not that much.
So I'm curious, like, how would we, okay, if each of us were going to hit on a woman, let's just say, pick a context, grocery store, lesbian bar, whatever, camping festival, how would you do it?
Oh God.
I have no idea.
I don't either. I don't either.
Maybe our audience has some good suggestions. Maybe they have some experiences that they want to talk to. And also, if you have any good pickup lines or pickup scenarios, you can send those in to proofoflovecast.com.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this is like actually illustrating something, right? Because we have no idea because we really don't know until we get into that situation how we're going to respond. There's no formula for hitting on someone, just like there's no formula for any kind of dating or relations, right? It all just like is on a case by case basis. And I would say that I don't know how I would approach a woman either if I was looking for that. I'm not. I'm in a relationship right now, so I'm not looking for anybody. But if I was going to try to initiate a relationship with another woman, I would probably start by making friends with her and then just talking to her and asking her questions and like really listening to her and trying to get to know her as a person. And I think that's sexy. That's kind of what's worked for me in the past.
But don't you think that that's kind of bad that you're hitting on your friend then? I mean, I wouldn't want to, like, if I were ever going to hit on a chick, I wouldn't want to hit on my friend. I feel like that's a violation of friendship. I don't know. But maybe it's not.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
that's a
social
good
conditioning.
point. That is a good point. I mean, I don't know. There's some friends that are really your friends and they're going to be there for you no matter what, and you can't date those friends because that could just ruin it, right? But then there's
Yeah.
some friends that are just more like acquaintances or someone that you is in your circles and you might like to get to know better. That's the kind of friend that I would maybe feel out for a potential relationship, right? Someone where the stakes are kind of lower. It's not like your sisters or your best friends since childhood or something like that.
Well, wait. So why is it okay to hit on, like, let's say, because a lot of times people say that men and women should be friends first and stuff. So why is that not creepy? Is it because of the sisterhood? You know what I mean? Like, because women kind of protect each other from the creepy dudes. Because most people would say you should date your friend, right? So why wouldn't
Yeah.
the inverse be true if you're trying to date a chick?
Yeah, maybe it is creepy. Maybe it does kind of destroy sisterhood. I mean,
Maybe it
it's
doesn't.
definitely,
I don't know. I'm just kind of curious because why would it be okay to hit on your friend if it's a straight situation and not okay in a gay situation, right? Wouldn't it be fine both ways? I don't know.
yeah,
I think
totally.
it has
Go
to be
ahead.
dependent on the situation, I think, and the friendship and the person. I think it's so specific to the actual scenario, in my opinion.
I think the creepy thing about when a man and a woman are ostensibly friends and then he's like trying to pursue a relationship with her and maybe she's oblivious or she's ignoring it or something like that. I think the creepy thing about that is when someone's not honest about their intentions, right? So I think if you're honest and upfront and you're saying, "Hey, I'd like to get to know you better as friends first, but I'm also attracted to you." If you let them know that somehow, then it's honest, and then you avoid that creepy factor from not being honest about your intentions. You know what I mean? Do you girls agree?
I agree with that, actually. I totally agree with that.
I agree with that, but I don't think that it removes the fear. I think when people try and hit on each other, they're not trying to be like, hey, so I like you. Would you like to go on a date sometime after we get to know each other? I mean, nobody's going to do that. I think, in my opinion, I think
I
that
love this Wisconsin accent you just developed.
I feel like people try and be a little bit more subtle. But when you say it, Stephanie, it sounds so reasonable. But I think implementing that is like, oh, just thinking about it is horrible. But I get a little bit weird with that stuff. I like to be direct, but I think that when it comes to romantic relations, that can be really difficult.
Yeah, right. There's like a creative or flirtatious way of making it sexy, but also being honest and upfront and direct. And that's a fine line. It's hard to do that. What do you girls think about just being friends with someone or having sort of a relationship where you're getting to know each other first before you start dating. Do you think has that worked out for you in the past better than just starting to date someone immediately?
For me, yes, 100%. My most successful relationships have been relationships where they kind of started out as friendships with interest. No question. Like
Oh
that's
no.
my current relationship and my last relationship and the last one before that didn't last, but he was a great guy. We were I wouldn't say close friends, but the relationships all started with in a friendly, more friendly than romantic note. Yes, for me.
I feel like I know if I want to sleep with somebody pretty early on. So they get out of the friend zone. They get into the fun zone.
Yeah, I like that we have different perspectives on this.
I mean, friends first, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just saying, in reality, there's two lanes. I know what lane the
I
person's
know.
going into.
You know what I think for me, what works in that scenario is that not necessarily being friends for years, but maybe you're acquaintances or you've met kind of casually through people over months or whatever the situation is. I have been in so many crap relationships that I think when there's that friendly factor, let's say first, you're getting to know somebody before you've done anything physical with them. So before you do anything physical with them, you know if you're going to match or not. That's why it tends to work for me. The minute I start seeing red flags, even in a friend capacity, I'm like, okay, bye. And then I haven't lost anything. But once, we've hooked up or something's happened and then I start to see the red flags, it's like, oh shit. Like, now I have to deal with all these emotions and feelings again. Ugh.
Is there
Ooh,
a
feelings.
defining time for the red flags? This is like an evolution of the question. I guess I'm thinking about it myself, but where is how do you know a red flag is really a red flag?
If you're the kind of person that's in tune with everything that's around you and in tune with how you feel, your gut, this is cliche as hell, but it's true. Your gut is not going to lead you wrong anytime. If somebody says something that immediately makes you think like, what? No, there's something wrong there. So for me, red flags would be somebody who immediately is talking shit about their ex. Immediately. Like, oh no, she did this. No, the one before that did this. The one before that did this. No, I've never done anything wrong. I'm perfect. All these girls I've dated have done this, that, the other, but it's never been me. For me, that's a red flag. Every guy I've dated who only talks shit about their exes ends up hurting me every single time, and they haven't learned. But I
Yeah,
have a
and then you're
caveat.
thinking like, I'm going to be the future bitch, right? That he's talking about, and especially if they're using misogynistic language, to me
Yes.
that says they actually have sort of a hatred for all women, and that
And
includes me.
I agree. And I think there's a caveat to what I said, because I think that if a guy can recognize that he was with somebody that was a bad fit and maybe isn't using misogynistic language, but is saying she was crazy, but he adds it with, maybe I made her crazy, or she was a horrible bitch, but to be fair, I cheated on her and she never got over the trust issues. Because I've actually had that happen. I've had guys admit that they thought the girl they were dating before was totally batshit crazy, but they could admit their part in making her crazy. That's not necessarily a red flag for me. If a guy can see that he's had a part in it, he's learning. He's understanding himself a little bit more. That's big. I think it's when it's that blind, like blanket, every girl I've dated, guaranteed 100% that guy is going to make the next girl go crazy. That's just the way it is. Like, no guy has only dated crazy girls, just like no girl has only dated crazy guys. It's just, in my opinion, in my experience. But
Why does it
I
seem
also
like
think
guys are never called crazy, and it's always women who are being called crazy?
I agree with that, and to some extent, yeah. Although I think things are changing. I feel like a while ago that would be kind of like the case no matter what. But I think now people are starting to be a little bit more aware of just what's crazy making behavior on both sides
I
and
hope so,
open.
because crazy knows no gender to me.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. But I also, I want to like piggyback on that a little bit too, because I don't think it's, for me, another big red flag. And then I would love for you guys to share yours, is not just exes. A guy who doesn't have any friends at all, like no friends. He only has maybe a handful of acquaintances. He's not close with his family. To me, those are obvious red flags, but I think a lot of people bypass that. And they're like, oh, he's shy. Oh, he's quiet. Like my fiance is shy and introverted, and he has a lot of lifelong friends. I think when somebody just doesn't have any social connections, I tend to wonder why. If you're
Mm.
of a certain age and you have nobody that you count as someone you could talk to, that just to me makes me very nervous.
Lauren, you're hitting a little close to home with my ex.
Really? Well,
I really should have seen that coming.
no friends, not at all.
Yeah, no friends and not close to his family.
Yeah, you just got to wonder why. I think some people have had a bad lot in life. I get that, and I don't discount it. And that's why I say it's either like friends or exes or family. Some people are really tight with their family and don't have a lot of friends, and it's just their personality, and vice versa. But I think when there's nobody that anybody counts on but themselves, it's a little worrisome at a certain age. Like we're humans. We need interaction and contact. You don't need to have a million friends, but even just one person that's somebody that you trust and you can talk to. I don't know. What do you guys think?
What I get nervous about is women that don't have any female friends. You know what I mean?
That
Those
too.
are the girls
Yes.
I'm worried about. I'm like, ooh, stay away from my man, girl. That's a girl that's been in trouble before. That's what I'm saying. But
So
yeah, I
is
think
that
you guys need to have friends too. Not
well,
too
is
many.
that a red flag for you? Would that be a red flag if you were dating somebody new and he had a best girlfriend who had no girlfriends?
Oh, hell yeah. I'd murder her. No, it wouldn't. I don't, if the girl, this is the way that I look at it, right? So I have a lot of guy friends, a ton of guy friends, because I work in male industries and whatever. Whenever I meet their girlfriend, I go out of my way to try and make her feel good because I'm a cool chick and I'm not trying to hit on her and or her man or whatever. And like, she's not trying, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to
Yes.
make her feel comfortable. If I had a guy, a boyfriend, and he had a girlfriend who didn't try and put that effort in with me, I wouldn't like it. And I would not want him to be friends with her because that is some dastardly behavior. I think. I don't know. I think it's really scary when a girl doesn't have any girlfriends at all.
I agree.
I agree. That's a great one, Tatiana. And that also says maybe she's got some issues with her mother or something like that to me.
Well, I have issues with
Yeah.
my mother. Don't throw us all out with the bathwater.
No, but you're also very empathetic. I've seen you. I've been to conferences with you with your guy friends, and you do make a very big effort with their significant others to show them like, hey, look, I'm Tatiana, I'm their friend. That's it. I think you're very, very good at that.
I agree. This is why Tatiana is surrounded by awesome girlfriends because she makes women feel comfortable.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of what are other big red flags. What would you guys
Well,
see
you
as
know what I'm going to say.
oh, tell me. Let's hear it.
Inconsistent texting. I hate it. It makes me
Yes.
freaking nuts. I think it's completely disrespectful. And I think that it takes 2 minutes to send a text. I also look out for patterns. So if somebody establishes a pattern and then there's some kind of a difference, I feel like I've been on real red alert for a while now because I've just been, somewhat unlucky with love. So I get a little bit paranoid, but I think that you kind of have to be because you don't want to waste time like arguing with somebody or getting emotionally involved with somebody that can't give you what you need.
I agree. And I know we're going to be talking about it on the next episode, but I do think, or on a future episode, I do think that if somebody inexplicably makes you feel like you're going crazy, that's a red flag. Like even in a tiny, tiny way, like somebody didn't like going in with the texting. Somebody says they're going to text you at 9:30 p.m. They fall asleep and in the morning you still don't hear from them, and maybe you hear from them 15 hours later and they're like, I'm so sorry, I had such a busy day. I don't think I told you I was going to text you yesterday, but if I did, I'm really sorry. That is like early crazy making behavior, and it's kind of putting you on the defensive and making you wonder like, well, they said they were going to text me at 9:30 and maybe we were going to have a call and then nothing, and then they're saying they didn't. It's kind of like, what? Oh, okay. And you start to second guess yourself and you start to wonder, and it sounds like a little small thing, but you're right with patterns, and it could be a positive pattern or a negative pattern. Somebody is consistently following up with what they say would be a positive pattern, and somebody kind of backtracking but then making you feel like they didn't start it in the first place would be a crazy making pattern.
Don't go crazy, ladies and gentlemen. Run for the hills. Steph, any red flags from you? Or should we move on to the next question?
No, that's a great one. I really love all the red flags that you both have mentioned so far. The one I was thinking of was that they avoid difficult conversations or they avoid conflict.
Yeah.
Right? If there's any, anything that comes up, even if it's a small disagreement or if it's just like, hey, you said you'd text me last night and then you didn't, what was up with that? If they avoid it or they blow you off or they change the subject or they make a joke out of it and they keep doing that even when it gets more serious, right? Like hey, you were supposed to pick me up from the airport and you didn't. What's up with that? Right? And they avoid those conversations. That is a big red flag to me. Even in my friendships, I need to be able to talk about those things with people directly and honestly. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. We're never going to get to a level of intimacy and trust, and the bond is just not going to be able to deepen.
Oh,
love
wait,
is hard.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tatiana.
I got nothing. I'm just saying love is hard.
I have a red flag. I have an easy red flag that is probably, because I think we all have different red flags and things that are kind of from our childhood or our past experiences or what. I have two, actually. Someone who is non-affectionate would be a red flag for me. And someone who doesn't, and people might not like this, but someone who doesn't like animals. For me, that's a really big red flag. If someone's like, ugh.
Yeah, what kind of a jerk doesn't like animals, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm a cat person and a dog person. I get that some guys are not into cats, even though I feel like more and more these days they are. But if somebody is like, ugh, cats, dogs, gross, like, blah, that to me is going to be like, wait, what? You don't have to have a pet. It's just you don't like animals? Like, what is that? I don't know.
Well,
to me, that's, yeah. Ugh.
Aren't people that don't like animals kind of psychos or something?
I think that's people who torture animals or who
Okay, fine. You cannot like animals and we won't put you into the category of psycho killer yet.
Two different lanes, like you said before.
Okay.
But that's a good one, Lauren. I like that one about no affection. Or I've heard people say before things like, oh, I just don't really have any feelings or something like that.
What is that?
Yeah, that's a red flag. Right. We all have feelings. They're in there somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, God. I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think red flags are sort of hard to tell, but once you start seeing them, I think it's really important to nip it in the bud. Because if you let it kind of go off on the rails, then all of a sudden you're even more emotionally invested and then you're not seeing the red flags. I think a lot of people don't even want to see red flags sometimes. They don't want to do it. They don't want to see it.
Definitely. And like you said, Lauren, I thought this was a really good observation. Everybody might have some different red flags or maybe pet peeves based on their own personal history and what they experienced in their childhood. And so if you have one of those and you know about it and you talk to someone and you say to someone you're just starting to date, hey, it drives me crazy when you say you're going to text me and you don't, or something like that. It drives me crazy when you refuse to hug me or something like that. I don't know. But if you talk to someone about it and then they still keep doing it, that's a big red flag.
I agree. It comes down to the same thing I say on every freaking episode. It comes down to communication. If you can't communicate about something, you're going to have a big problem.
Awesome. Well, guys, we're going to keep the questions for next time because this one has been a little bit of a longer episode, but I think it was pretty fun. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about this stuff. And next time, I'd like to try and talk about gaslighting soon enough. And I think a lot of people go through that. So getting into that a little bit more, I think will be pretty cool. But I don't know, any parting words, any final suggestions before we tell our audience to listen to us at proofoflovecast.com on Fridays?
I'm just going to say, ladies and men, trust your gut when it comes to things. Just trust your inner intuition and don't be scared to trust yourself and just go with that.
Oh, I love that. Couldn't say anything better than that.
Go with your gut, guys.
Yes.
And tell your friends about proofoflovecast.com. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
If you have a project that needs reliable cryptocurrency data, check out blocktap.io. BlockTap.io is a universal cryptocurrency API. You can get historical prices for Bitcoin and other digital assets that you can use to build charts and do market analysis. Blockchain data is also indexed so you can get transaction statistics, address balances, and more for Bitcoin and other networks. BlockTap.io is free for personal use, and you don't even need to create an account to access the API. To get started, try some of the example queries on the homepage at blocktap.io. Show me your heart. I know that it's beating. Tell me that you love me too. So I know your heart is true. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. 'Cause I need some proof of love. Do you like cryptocurrency, politics, economics, activism, or art? Then check out The Tatiana Show, where you can learn all about it in a fun and non-intimidating way, as if you're just hanging with friends. Go to thetatianashow.com and listen now. Thank you for listening to Proof of Love. Please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Proof of Lovecast. More episodes can be found at proofoflovecast.com. And make sure you leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. Proof of Love has been brought to you by CryptoMediaHub.com, a boutique marketing and PR agency for Bitcoin and beyond.